going on, folks? So I had a band reach out to me and ask me if I would check out one of their songs. And the name of this band is the Unofficial Utopia. And it's funny, when I first got a message from these folks, I thought that maybe it was like a band called the Utopia or Utopia, and this was like the fan group or whatnot, because I mean the Unofficial Utopia. But yeah, it's pretty tight. Interesting band name there. It's not the official Utopia; it's the Unofficial Utopia. So yeah, I don't know. So I guess the Unofficial Utopia. It kind of feels like it's not the main Utopia. It's the Unofficial Utopia. It's more of like the Utopia of the people, not like the big Utopia that's touted as this like perfect place. It's the Unofficial Utopia, the more realistic utopia. Anywho, I'm going too far into this, but the name of this song is called "Heart to Fight," and I'm really curious about this. I believe it's from an album that released last year, 2022. I missed it. I've never heard of this band before, didn't check out the album, all that good stuff. So I'm grateful to the band for reaching out to me and asking me if I would check this out. And of course, I'm always stoked to check out something a band requests. But yeah, so yeah, this is the Unofficial Utopia with the song "Heart to Fight." Rangers, go.
The end of days have been turned into a reality. The consequences of our actions have brought us closer to the cliff. Time is running out. Cling on to your loved ones. Let's pray for this transcendence to be painless.
Very interesting song there. I like the way it all kind of starts out. It's got that real kind of groovy, somewhat slow pace, just riff. It reminds me kind of like a lot of those bands from like the early to mid 2000s. They're like the metal or hard rock metal, what have you, like Audio Slave and things of that ilk. It just kind of reminded me a lot of that, where it's just it's atmospheric. It's kind of got an emotional tinge to it. Just kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? Not like thought provoking, but like a reflecting kind of tune and beat to it. And I dug it. I was like, this is really cool. And the way I like the vibe of it, and the rhythm and the vocals. One thing I do want to point out, because before I forget, the drummer. I mean, the drums in this song were sick. I really like. He did a lot compared with, because the song, it didn't necessarily leave a whole lot open for a lot of like just drum freedom, or drum creativity for that matter. It could have just been very basic, and I guess you could say that for almost any song, as long as we're not talking about like jazz or something crazy like that. But even then, maybe you could get by. I mean, there's too many changes. Anywho, yeah. All I'm saying is that the drummer, I really, really enjoyed the drum work in this song, and they really took it upon themselves to make some cool beats and to do some really cool stuff, that really kind of stood out to me. Especially where it wouldn't have necessarily been necessary. They could have gotten by with some simple beats, but they really kind of threw their own personality into it. So yeah, the drum work was really, really stellar. The guitar work was really great as well, of course. I really dug the solo. I like the vocals. And another thing, the vocals, especially kind of during the chorus, it kind of reminded me of M Shadow from Avenged Sevenfold. And even the song itself, there's some Avenged Sevenfold songs that, it's almost like a fusion of what I would consider a band like Audio Slave style fused with like Avenged Sevenfold style. I'm not talking like new album Avenged Sevenfold. That's quite a bit different from what, like, the mid 2000s Avenged Sevenfold, but like a fusion of those two. Mid 2000s Avenged Sevenfold. And, anywho, it was pretty neat, and I did really enjoy the song. But the one thing that I will say though, that it left me a smidge unfulfilled. It felt like a void was left, because the whole song is kind of, it feels like it's building. Like it feels like it's gradually getting a little bit more intense, because it feels like an emotional kind of song, a hard hitting song, but not in your face. But then the chorus kind of gets a little bit more, you know, punching, a bit, especially with the vocals and some of the riffs. And but everything's is kind of hitting hard, and so it feels like it's gradually building to something. And then, especially when they teased me with some like symphonic elements in there, here and there, like as it felt like it was building, you could hear like there was some symphonic elements popping in, and I was like, oh snap! I was like, they're teasing some symphonic elements. It's building. We're gonna get this huge, like, climactic, just full on, punch in the face, grand. The guitars and everything's gonna get louder. The dude's really gonna be wailing. The symphonic elements are just gonna be blasting through the stratosphere. And this song, like all this like pent up emotion that feels like it's building throughout this whole song, it's just boom, we're just gonna be, blasted. And everything is gonna be just epic, and it all feel like it's reach that point to it just is erupting, but we didn't get that. And so that's why it feels a little, I feel a bit unfulfilled because it was building up, and then there was a spot where I thought for sure they were going to go into it, but then they didn't. And you kind of got the guitar solo, which I really enjoyed the solo, but then from there you kind of just go back into the chorus the way that the chorus was previously, and so you never really get that payoff. And again, it's like the sort of song where it feels like it's purposefully somewhat restrained, like pent up emotion, and it's just gradually building. It's bubbling at the surface, and then I may not have been so bummed if they didn't tease me with some symphonic elements, because then I just may have thought, all right, the guitar solo was kind of like the what have you, the metaphor for the emotions of whatnot, just just letting loose or whatnot. But when they teased me with some of the symphonic elements, and I was like, man, this is building up. This is gonna be so grand. Like it's just gonna, oh. And so that to me is what's missing from this song. I still enjoyed it. Like I said, I liked all the parts. I liked the structure. I like the style of the song. There's definitely a lot to like here. But just because of the nature of the way it was arranged and set up, it just really, really feels like it needed that grand, even if it's just instrumental, but really smack you in the face with some heavy guitars and maybe and then the solos going, and then there's symphonic elements that are just blasting, and it feels like the world is crumbling almost, and it's just glorious. And then you have the vocalist like do some screams and this and that, and man, yeah, I don't know, it's just missing that big time in my opinion. But again, like I said, aside from that though, it's a good song. It is a good song, but it just really, really needed something that felt like this is the point we've reached, and it just it all comes together, and it all just boom, just grand, take it to the stratosphere, because that's where I felt like it was going, and then it didn't. And yeah, anywho, like I said though, great musicianship. I like the vocals. I like their style. I do like the song, but it's just missing that one key thing for me, and that's that. And not that every song needs that. I'm just, because the way the song was set up and then teased with symphonic elements, and it just didn't come to fruition. So anywho, that's my thoughts on that. But really cool. I'm curious to check out more of this band and see what the rest of their stuff is like. This is the sort of song too, it feels like it could be like the final track on the album. I'm not sure if it is or not, but it definitely has that kind of vibe. But yeah, thank you so much to the band for asking me to check out this song. I'm definitely curious about this group, the Unofficial Utopia. Remember, folks, don't look up the Utopia, the official one, the Unofficial Utopia. So, anywho, let me know in the comments down below what you think of this song. Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you all next time. Ranger.